Hello, my name is Ken Matson, and I'd like to share with you some of information about the SPCC rule and farm tanks. By way of introduction, I've been a sales manager for Busby Marine and Tank and for Weststeel Liquid Storage out of Canada over 10 years, and I have my own company called scattank.com where you can see the tanks that I provide. This is a picture of one of my pages on the web page there at scattank.com. You're welcome to take a look at some of the tanks that I've built over time. I want to invite you to pause these slides on occasion if you want to study them. This slide basically is trying to give you a little chart for whether or not you need an SPCC plan. I put it here for a review for your study. This is typical what I see for ag tanks on farms. They're single wall tanks. They don't have saddles or rails. We call them skids sometimes. A limited amount of openings at the top. They basically were planned for them to be on stands, but obviously they got used in different ways. As I mentioned, these ag tanks were designed as a non-UL tank, basically a gravity feed kind of operation and design for diesel. But today, the SPCC rule requires secondary containment for these tanks, and so now we have some new issues to work with. Some of the issues that we're going to address with the SPCC rule in order to become compliant is, one, you must get the tank off the ground. In other words, you need to supply saddles or rails, somehow get the tank out of the ground so you can inspect it on a monthly basis, make sure it's not leaking. Secondary containment can be several things. Berms are one of the kind of secondary containment that can be provided. Overfill protection is another issue that's being addressed by the SPCC rule. Can easily be solved with level gauges, clock gauges. Foundation, again, we've talked about that, saddles or skids. Somehow these tanks, a 1,000-gallon tank, of course, is going to weigh 6,000 or 7,000 pounds, so it needs to be properly on a foundation that works. Grounding, in some cases, there may be static electricity, other kinds of lightning strikes, whatever. So grounding is an issue. Location. The SPCC doesn't actually address location so much as fire codes do. The gravity feed tanks through one of the national fire codes needs to be 40 feet away from a building or housing, whatever. So again, that's where those gravity feed tanks are generally stationed out in the land somewhere. Venting is a big deal. Again, fire code addresses this, but gasoline is vented differently than diesel. Obviously, gasoline is more volatile. I was able to help one of our farmers here with a typical ag tank. Again, not very many openings. He chose to put it in a secondary containment and build rails, as you can see, to get the tank off the ground and properly foundation grounded also. I provided a little kind of double vent there so he could have a gauge as well as venting for his gasoline. He chose to use gasoline in this tank, which needs venting 12 feet above ground. So provided those for him. So we were able to convert that tank and get it inside of the compliance issues for SPCC. Double wall tanks, of course, are a secondary containment and meets the SPCC, but even then, double wall tank has to be outfitted properly. And spill container would be great. Proper venting, emergency vents, overfill whistle, alarm, or gauges, Kruger leak gauge, or for the interstitial. This allows you to, for a relatively cheap gauge, you don't have to open up the secondary containment and make sure that the primary tank is functioning properly. Lockable pumps, meters, and filters are all part of a good fueling system. This is a picture of a 2,000 gallon tank. 1,000, 3,000 look the same. Again, proper E-vents, working vent, spill containment, lockable hose, leak gauges, interstitial, all part of what a double wall tank needs to have for equipment. Secondary containment for active measures. Basically, every farmer needs at least a spill kit for little discharges and possible little issues that might arise in filling or working around your equipment. And so these products work for that. The general secondary containment, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of latitude, a lot of things a farmer can do. Basically, the SPCC is only concerned with getting fuels, oils to a waterway. They are not concerned with it going into the ground. That's a hazmat issue, and that's pretty expensive to be able to take those saturated, contaminated oils away. So this is secondary containment. Just a picture of some corrugated metal circles and things that are available to purchase. They might have a liner or not. Just a picture of some of the secondary containment you can put up easily. So I want to thank you for your time, and I hope that this helps. Blessings. Thank you.